Hello everyone, and welcome to an Assetto Corsa modding tutorial, update for 2021. So in this tutorial I'll be teaching you the very basics of Assetto Corsa car modding. And by the end of this you should have a very basic understanding. I will make more tutorials in the future when I have time, explaining more advanced tasks, etc. So, the very first thing I should get out of the way is this tutorial is for people who plan to use 3dsmax. So if you plan to use Blender, this tutorial won't really help you much because Blender is very different from 3dsmax. And I also should note that I will be using 3dsmax 2020. Older and newer versions will work, but slight changes will be within each. But the version I recommend most is 2020 if you have the option, as I find it to be the easiest one personally. With that out of the way, I guess we can start with the first thing, which is getting 3dsmax. So in order to get 3dsmax, there's several ways you could acquire it. Some legal, some not legal. You could download a free trial for 30 days, but after 30 days are up, you either have to download another free trial with a different email, or you'll have to purchase it, which is very, very, very expensive. I would not recommend purchasing it unless you are able to afford it. But like most Assetto Corsa people, there's no way you'll be able to afford it. For at least most people, I mean $1,700 for a year. So there's other ways to acquire it. You could acquire it by going to pirating it, which I would not recommend either. Or you could, if you are in high school or college and have the ability, sometimes your school will let you use will give you a free, I guess, code or whatever, where you can use your school account to get 3dsmax. But if you have any issues trying to acquire the software or whatever, feel free to ask for suggestions in the comment section, because I have to be careful of what I say, because last time I walked people through exactly how to get it, and I think my tutorial did cause the site to get changed and cause it to get a lot harder to get student accounts for 3dsmax. So I'm not going to say in the tutorial itself how to exactly get it, but you're welcome to ask in the comment section. I can't stop anyone who may, tell you how to do it now. Okay, so that's how you get 3dsmax. So the next thing you want to do is you want to locate to your Assetto Corsa folder. So your Assetto Corsa folder will be located wherever you installed Assetto Corsa. So for my sake, I installed it in Steam Games, Steam Apps, Common, Assetto Corsa on the E drive. The default installation is usually the C drive. If you don't know where you installed it, check there first. But once you locate to the Assetto Corsa folder, you want to go into the SDK folder. You want to go into the editor. And kseditor, this application, we're going to be using this a lot, and you're going to be using it a lot if you do Assetto Corsa modding. So I'd suggest right-clicking, create a shortcut, and then take the shortcut and drag it onto your desktop like I have right here. Alright, so next thing is, I assume you should have Content Manager like most people who play Assetto these days. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go into your settings. Actually, no, you want to go into your about, and you want to click right here, the version number. Click it, just start spam clicking it, and you'll see a prompt pop up ask if you want to put your Content Manager into developer mode. If that pops up, you click yes. And once you do that, the first step is starting with a car you want to modify. So I'm planning to modify this car for tutorial, but if you don't know how to make a copy of the car, I have a tutorial I'll have a tutorial link in the description, or if I forget, it's on my YouTube channel about how to rename a car and call it your own or whatever. You should be able to look that up. But once you have that made, you just want to open the car in showroom, and you want to hit Unpack K5. That should have popped up since you put your content manager in developer mode. If it doesn't, try restarting your content manager. If it still doesn't work, that means you didn't do it right. So just try again, and it should work. So you hit Unpack K5 and just wait a second, and you'll see this pop up. So this right here is your unpacked folder, which is where once you hit Unpack K5, this is where the car model and textures go. Now this file, this is very important because this will save you a lot of time in kseditor. It's the basic settings for it's the basic, I guess, saves preset settings that are in showroom for all the materials and stuff. So make sure you don't get rid of this or any of these, because all these are important. So once you have that unpacked, you can minimize this, X showroom out, and then we can launch 3dsmax. So once you have it installed, you just go ahead and launch it and wait a second. It could take a few minutes depending on how slow your computer is. For me, it doesn't take that long. Okay. Once it launches, I know this could look intimidating if you don't know what you're doing, or you've never seen 3dsmax before, or if you're a Blender user. It still looks intimidating, but I'll assure you that you'll be somewhat comfortable with the layout by the end of this tutorial. So the first thing you want to do is you have these three different, well, I mean, let me rephrase that. You have all these different views. For simplicity's sake, we're going to be using this bottom right view perspective, but these other views are pretty much little cameras pointing at different directions of this you can use to look at different models, which can be useful if you're aligning things or trying to make things perfect, but for simplicity's sake, we'll use this. So you just click the box, left click it, and then hit Alt W, and that will maximize this window. Okay, once you do that, if you notice that it takes up the whole screen, you don't have a little side thing right here, you just click Toggle Scene Explorer, which is right kind of beneath the Arnold. So click that, and you should see this, or it might have already been popped up for you, but mine isn't popped up when I load. So okay, once you click that, you want to go to File, Import, and then you want to locate to the Assetto Corsa folder. So you will go here, Steam Games, Steam Apps, Common, Assetto Corsa, Content, Cars, and then you will locate to the car folder. So if you forget what it's called, you can go over here and look right here. So it's called Sam Toyota MRS DZW30 Milo. So we will look for that. Sam Toyota MRS DZW30 Milo. So we would double click this, double click Unpack, and then we can open. Then you want to click this Toyota MRS, that's the object file, and hit Open. Okay. So make sure your import settings are similar to mine. So you just want to add. Don't do add, update. Don't do any of that, or you're going to hate yourself. So don't click that. Don't click animation. Scale units, you want to keep at 1.0. Turn automatic off if that's on, but if it's not 1.0, you have to select the correct one. Like if it's 100, 1, but if it's like 39.37, you have to go through and click each one until you find the scale factor at 1.0. But once that's done, you hit OK. Then give it a second to import. Okay, so basics of moving the camera around. So, there are several ways you can move your camera around to navigate around the car in 3ds Max. For starters, you got this right here, this little box. If you hold left click, you can move it around like this. See how the box moves around? I usually don't use this though. I use the shortcut keys mostly for moving around because it's a lot quicker than clicking the box. So, and you can also like click this and get a perfectly top view or front view. It's pretty useful for that, but that's about it. So, if you hold Alt and middle mouse, you can move the camera around with your mouse. And if you don't hold Alt and just hit middle mouse, it'll move the camera like back and forth. So Alt, middle mouse to rotate, middle mouse to move around. You can use the scroll wheel to zoom in or out. If you hold Alt, it zooms in a little slower. See, normal and then Alt. Let me think. I think that's all the basic controls you know for now. So that's how you move around this little, I guess, work area in 3ds Max. The model display area, I guess you'd call it. But so let's go ahead and unselect all this by just left clicking off the object. Once you do that, so the first thing we're going to do, this tutorial is just going to cover very basics of swapping parts. No AOing, none of that yet. We will cover that in probably part 2 or part 3, but for now, let's just talk about the basics. So, first thing I want to do is I want to add a GT wing to this. So, what you want to do is the car you want to take parts from, you want to go into Content Manager and look it up. So, the GT wing we want to put on this is the Lotus 211. So we'll click this, open showroom, and then you want to hit unpack cam 5. Once that pops up, we can minimize this, we can X this out, cancel. And then we want to left click and drag over it to highlight it. So once that's highlighted, you can right click, hide selection, and that will pretty much hide all the objects in the scene. Okay, now we want to go File, Import, and we want to find that car. So we saved it right here. So it's called the Lotus 211. So we want to find the Lotus 211. Okay, there's 211. So unpacked, LODA, and we can open. So we just want to add as non-animation, scale factor 1. So that's good, so we can hit OK. Okay, sometimes this will pop up when you import cars that have shifter boot animations. Just hit OK. Alright, so what we want to do is take the GT wing. So we will zoom in and select the GT wing here. As you can see, it's all one object. The whole thing's highlighted. So what you can do is right click, hide selection. And if we look here, there's nothing left. There's only the whole wing is one part is what I'm trying to say. So we don't have to worry about hiding anything else. So now what we can do is zoom out, hold left click, hover over the whole thing, hit delete. Now we can right click, unhide all, and we'll see a GT wing is floating there for now. Alright, now something else I should note, and I probably should have said this a little sooner, but these blue boxes here, they're called dummies. For now, ignore them, don't touch them, do not move them. I will explain probably in part 2 of this tutorial series what dummies do and how to work with them and stuff, but for now just ignore them and just don't touch them. You can hide them if they get annoying though. You can right click, hide selection if you find them annoying. Anyway, so For the GT wing, the way to move objects in 3dsmax is you go up to this little top bar here and click select and move. So once you click that, you'll see this little X, Y, and Z, I guess, axis thing pop up, and you can just left click and hold, and you can move the mouse to move the object around the X, Z, or the Y axis. And you also have this down here, these little numbers. So if you want to center it perfectly, if you want to put a certain number in the X axis, like let's say we want this perfectly centered at 0, we can click this, hit enter, and it will center it, or it'll put it on whatever number you put in on the X axis. Same with Y or Z. So I usually find most of the time it's easier to move it unless I'm trying to center it. So right now it's centered on the X axis, so we just have to use Z and Y to align it. So we'll move it down like this, move it down like this, somewhere around here. Now if you notice, it's still flowing the rear, it's not exactly aligned, so we're going to have to rotate it some. So in order to rotate, there's the rotate tool is right next to the move tool, so you just click that, and same thing applies like with the move tool, where you have the X, Y, and Z rotations over here. You can just click and hold and move like this, or if you have a specific number, you can put in the number of degrees you want it to do, and it will put it there. So for now we will just rotate it some. So something like this. That looks about right. And then we go back to move tool and adjust it some more. So like this. You can see it how it's kind of in the bottom. We're trying to keep that as minimal as possible. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, yeah, I think that's about right. So, okay, there you go. GT wing is put on now. So, we're going to do one more object, which is seats. And then, that's about all modifying we're going to do for now. But this will apply for any normal objects that don't need different textures, material, AOs, or any dummies. Like, you can't do this with rims unless you know how to work with dummies, so. But let's go ahead and put some seats in. So we're going to take seats from a kind of a scuff mod I made a long time ago. If we go here, we just unpack game 5. Yes. Where we can minimize that. It's called Sam toward the MRS2. So cancel, minimize. And same thing as we practiced before. We're just going to left click, drag over it, right click, hide selection. Then we go file, import, and then we have to locate that folder. So you gotta scroll through your cars, find the name. So it's Sam toward MRS2. Okay, unpack, model, open. So same thing, add. Scale factor is 1 again, and we're getting pretty lucky, but usually you have to change it sometimes. Okay, that's it. So what we want to steal here is the seats. So we'll just go in here, click the seats here, right click, hide selection, and we want both seats, so we'll right click, not right click, we'll left click this to select, right click, hide selection. There you go, that's the seats. So now we can zoom out. Left click, hover over it, hit the delete key. So right click, unhide all. We will see the seats are there, but the old seats are also there. So if we want to delete objects, they're all right here. It's pretty simple. So for now, we're going to click the seat, hide selection, click this seat, hide selection, so we can make sure we get the old seats out right. So As you can see, there's no other object attached to them. It's just the middle seat, so we can hit the delete key to get rid of them. Same story with this. You can also hit the delete key. And then same thing with this seat as well, it looks like. You can just hit the delete key. So now if we look around, oh, we missed more objects. We gotta delete this as well. Except that has the seat. Now if you right click, hide unselected, and look, there's a seatbelt buckle and there's the seatbelt, so we don't want all of that. So the way we get around with that is, I'll go ahead and select both, hide unselected. The way you'll do this is we will go to this modify tab on here. So we'll click this, and then we will click element select. What we'll do is we will hover over the seats like this. Make sure you get the whole seat there. Now we want to deselect this little seatbelt thing. So the way you do it is if you hold Alt and left click to kind of highlight it, it will deselect the seatbelt thing. So once we have only just this part of the seat selected, not this or this, we can hit the delete key, and that will just get rid of that there. Same story with this over here, but let's say you don't want to get rid of this whole thing. You only want to get rid of like these two triangles here. The way you get around with it is the polygon select. You can select individual polygons and hit delete if you want to do that. But we don't need to do that, so we will just select this whole thing here. Hold Alt, unselect the seatbelt thing over here. Then we can hit the delete key. Okay? Then we'll hit the plus to get out of the editing the object polygons. Then we will right click unhide all, and we should see that the seats are there. They're aligned all right. They were aligned all right from the beginning, but if you wanted to align them farther, you could move them back or forth, which I may move this seat back some, so just drag along x-axis like we practiced. So something like this. Same thing with this seat over here. Something like this. Go farther back. Maybe not that far, something like this. Okay, so that looks about right. So once you're happy with that, we got the seats in, so we are good to export it now. Since we're not doing AOing or anything else in here. So what we will do is we will go to File, Export, Export. We will locate to the Assetto Corsa folder once again. So we'll go over here, so Corsa, Content, Cars, and you will find the car folder that you are editing. So for me, it was Sam, Toyota, MRS, EZW30, Milo. Then unpack, click this, save, yes. Okay, 1. Scale factors in 1, we're good. Now make sure the x-axis or the axis conversion is at y up, and make sure it's at binary FBX 2014-2015. So make sure all that's the same, otherwise it won't work right. Once that's good, you can hit OK. And then we're done 3dsmax for now, so you can exit out, but now I'm just going to minimize it. So what you want to do is now you want to open kseditor. And we want to go to File, Open FBX. So we'll locate to that folder. So Corsa, Content, Cars, and then We want to go to Sam, Toyota, MRCW30, Milo. Unpack, click this, and then click open. Then give it a second. Okay, once that imports, you want to go to illumination, change weather from heavy fog to clear, load weather. Change black and white to default, load post-processing effects. And then if you hold left click with the mouse, you can rotate the camera around. Excuse me, you can rotate camera around. And then you can use the arrow keys to move around pretty much. So this is what the car would look like in game right now. But if you notice, our textures that were showing up in 3dsmax are gone now. If you right click with the mouse on the wing and go to the material tab, we have no materials at all, so we have to go through and assign materials, which is why I kept the folders open. So if we go to the Lotus 211 folder and go textures, we have to find which textures we need to add to it. So the way to do that is you go in showroom of the car. So Lotus 211, you open this in showroom. You click this and you pretty much see what textures are. So chassis AD2.DDS. So we want to find chassis A2.DDS. Where is it? Then we need damaged chassis normal map. And then we chassis AD map. Then metal detail.DDS, which we already have a metal detail since the body comes with one. But and then we got these damaged ones, but we're not gonna worry about them. We're not even gonna worry about the damaged normal map because we just used a flat normal map for that. So we just want the diffuse and the TX maps. So you can just hold Control C to copy both these textures, and you want to locate to this folder here, your car folder, open texture folder, and then Control V to paste them both into there. Okay, and once you do that, you can close that out, and you want to assign the first texture. So you click the three dots here, go texture folder, you'll see chassis A underscore D2. Just click this, click open, assign first texture. Now if you'll notice, there was lots of textures and this is only one. So what you want to do is, if you notice, by clicking the three dots by material, the shader is not KS per pixel, it's KS per pixel multimap underscore damage underscore dirt. But I don't care about the damage or the dirt textures, so we are just going to do KS per pixel multimap. So in order to change that, you click here and you find it in the list. So KS per pixel multimap. Just click that. Then you scroll down and we have to see the normal. So the TX maps, we're just going to do flat normal map, which we have right here. Then TX maps, we can click three dots and then find the map texture that we took. And then finally, we want the metal detail. So we'll scroll down here. We will find metal detail right here. Open. And there we go. Now next thing, now there's two ways you can do the shade values, because that's the textures, but notice how it looks kind of weird. It doesn't look right. It's really light and shiny and stuff. So all these numbers here contribute to the shading values. So there's two ways you could do this. There's an easy way and I guess there's no easy way. There's a lazy way and a non-lazy way, I guess you'd call it. So the non-lazy way is by clicking the object like I had, clicking three dots and having the shader properties here. you can go through and copy them all manually through here. If you see what I mean here. You go through 4, 4, 5, 1, 50, and just go down the list and copy them all. Or if you want to, you could, we can go and make our own shading values in Showroom, or you can just adjust them manually by sight. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and adjust them in Showroom, because I'm lazy and I don't feel like doing kseditor. One thing to note though is Showroom will look different from in-game slightly, so whenever you adjust in Showroom, double check in-game, make sure it looks good. But so that's set up now, the wing. Now we have to do seats. So go in here and right click the seats. You have no texture, so we have to go find the car first. So we will go find, if we look, we will see this MRS here. Open Showroom. If we move in here, click here, we'll see red, flat normal map, then red. So what we'll do is we'll open the texture here. We will find red, this here, and that's the only texture we need because 3 of them use it. So we can X this out, close this, and we can go to the Milo spec car, Control V, paste it there. We can minimize this, click 3 dots and find the red texture. Okay, and then we gotta change it to a multi-map. So 3 dots is flat normal map. 3 dots here is red. Where is it? And then DX detail is red. And for now we are good. You could adjust these in. You could adjust these values in here as well if you wanted to. It's up to whatever you would like to do, but for me personally, I'm gonna do in Showroom. So once that's set up, if you want to double check, make sure you're not missing materials, you click this material tab down here. You can scroll through here, and if you look, there's no red materials showing up down here. So that means every object in here has a material assigned. So when that's ready, we can hit File, Save Kane5 Car. And what you want to do is locate to the Milo car folder, scroll down toward the MRS, just click the Kane5 and then click Save. Do you want to replace it? Yes. And if nothing goes wrong, you'll see that it's saved. Now if you forgot material, it'll give you an error and say that you need to assign a material. It wouldn't let you save it. So since we assigned all materials, it showed up with this message saying it's saved, so we hit OK. And we can X out kseditor now. Okay, now we can open Showroom for a look. All the modifications we did showed up. So how do we adjust the shading? There's, like I said, we can click here, change values, and we can adjust them in Showroom as well. Or we can steal shading values from different cars. So what I got saved is if we go change values, unsave preset, I have all these presets saved from all different car mods that you can click and it'll apply all the shading values to. In order to do that, for example, let's look up Kunos R34. So this thing. If we open this in Showroom, what you could do is like click the buy, for example, 3 dots, change values, and you can hit save preset. You call it whatever you want, hit save, and you'll be able to click here and load it by clicking it. But I already have lots and lots of presets saved over the years, so all I have to do is click here, 3 dots, change values, and since this is supposed to be body color, we can just click unsave preset, and then we can find Kunos R34 body and just click that, and now we'll apply all the values here. once we do that, we can just kind of look at it and be like, that looks about the same. Oh, maybe you want it a little darker, or you want it brighter, actually. You can adjust that. But I'm happy with how that looks now, so. And something else we could do is, we do the same thing for this as well. You could go inside, like, the interior, 3 dots, change values. You can save preset for any of the Kunos cars as well for the interior. But to apply it, you just click it, click 3 dots, change values, go and save preset, and I will give it the, what should I give it? I'll give it TW 6 leather. Ooh, that's way too bright. That's way too bright. Sometimes it takes trial and error, so I don't like that. So let's actually try Spirit R32 leather. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then, you could adjust it. Like, this is nice, but it's kind of bright, don't you think? So we can just change the ambient to 1. Whoa, that's way too dark. 2, 5. I think that's pretty good. Maybe 2 was better. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good, And all these objects give you, not objects, all these values change different things on the car. So, let me find a picture to show you. If I still have it. It's all the kseditor, what all the values do. I'll just show you what they do real quick. Let me just find it real quick. Give me a second. If I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. So if we open this here, and look, this is what most all the values do. Not all of them, but a lot of the important ones do. So if you want to, you can screenshot this, save it somewhere. If you want to just adjust everything manually. But there's a chart there if you want to really know the nitty gritty of shading values and shader work and stuff. But for me, I just play around with the values till it looks decent. So this looks pretty decent, so we just hit save. If we look now, this is looking really good right now. Now, something else I should point out is, if you notice, you'll notice sometimes different things like the badges and stuff will look weird, like they're not transparent anymore. So the way to fix that is the 3 dots here, change values, change alpha mode to blend or test, whichever. I'm going to do test for this, but I usually fix it. Sometimes kseditor gets confused, and when you save not kseditor, when you unpack KM5, sometimes Content Manager gets confused and doesn't save values, so you have to go through, change values, alpha test didn't work, alpha blend. That didn't work either. I think this is bugged, possibly. Okay, but you'd have to go through and make sure none of the badges are weird or whatever. But once that's done, there's 2 more things to do. 1, right click, open content tab, and you can update the previews by clicking this. And there you go, the previews are updated. And the other thing to do is test to see if it loads in game fine. So let's just check real quick, see what it looks like in game. As we can see, it looks pretty alright. Yeah, that wing looks pretty good. So it looks pretty good in game. One thing to note, if we go into my free cam, the driver model is messed up because the seat is farther forward. So I'd have to go through and adjust the driver some. So I'll show you how to do that real quick, and then I will end the tutorial there for now. Let me know important things you want to cover in future tutorials, and I'll try to get to them. I know I know I haven't been putting main tutorials out last year. I've only put like 1 or 2, but I've been busy with Kanagawa lines, so. And if any of you are interested in joining, we welcome anyone. I know I'm kind of self-promoting right here, but there's a team for everyone. I mean, the Ibitsu team's the easiest one to get into, and it's really fun. It'll help you get a lot faster. Anyway, with that out of the way, so if we click driver here, we should see it pop up like this. Hit movable driver and hit the T key. You'll see this little box pop up, and you'll be able to adjust the sum. We'll move him forward some. He's still clipping through his seats, which sucks. Another way we could fix this, make him a little smaller. So what we could do is just grab the box, make him slightly smaller, like this. And then we could just adjust it some. Like this. Still clipping through some. If that's the case, the best way to fix it and the easiest way without having to deal with driver animations is just move the seat back some more. I'm not going to do that now just because this tutorial is already long enough, but what you do is just kind of look at it, see where the back is, go, okay, well the seat has to pretty much go farther back, and this probably should go farther back as well, but so that was bad judgment of how far forward the seat should have been, but now we'll just save position, save game 5. And there you go. So that's how you do the very basics of 3dsmax and kseditor and just Assetto Corsa modding. So if you enjoyed the tutorial, please leave a like and comment. I know I will actually try to read comments and answer questions on this newer update tutorial. And I will try to make more tutorials in the future, like I said, when I have time. Let me know if any questions. I'll see I get to it. And thanks for watching. See ya.